Welcome to Sports Bettors, BetRepublic Daily Lines. We'll do a preview today of the first two games, the first round, the Saturday games, round 2, NFL playoffs. Sonny Palermo here, Jarvis Times here, and we're going to start with Arizona at New Orleans. Who you like in this one?
Well, you've got an Arizona offense that came alive against Green Bay. It wasn't a big surprise to see Arizona putting up a lot of points at home because they've done that so many times at home lately. They're going into New Orleans, though, to face a team whose offense was consistently putting up points from week 1 of the NFL season. Saints finished the year with 510 points. They've had a week to get healthy. I like what Drew Brees is going to do with this offense. He's coming out. He's got Bell, Pierre Thomas, Robert Bush, all three running backs with different styles of running game. You've also got a passing game and home field advantage in there that I think is going to be the kind of thing that Kurt Warner and the Saints or the Arizona offense have struggled with this year. They've gone on the road and they've beaten some really mediocre teams this year.
Well, you've got Arizona 6-0 against the spread as a dog, coming into a dog this year, and that's including the Green Bay game last week where they started as a favorite but ended up as a dog. There's 6 losses this year. You look, they lost 4 points to San Fran, 21 to Indy, 13 to Carolina, 3 to Tennessee, and 15 to San Francisco. It's disturbing that they lost twice to San Francisco, but chuck all of those out. The one that matters, the team that comes closest to this game this week, Indy. They lost to Indy by 21 points, and that was in Arizona. Now, last week they put up a lot of points on Green Bay. And if you look at Green Bay's defense compared to New Orleans' defense, you'll see a couple stats in favor of Green Bay. They were the number 2 defense overall going into that game. But there's a reason for that. And the reason is Tracy Porter and Jabari Greer were both hurt at different points throughout the season, second half of the season. Last week, they put up all those points against Green Bay, who has one Pro Bowl, one great quarterback, Player of the Year. I think he won Player of the Year. Award came out yesterday. But in this New Orleans team, he's facing a team that's got 2 solid professional starters at cornerback. I don't think they're going to have it that easy. It's tough to get that level 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, you've seen Arizona, too, go on the road and play against bad teams. I saw them play good against Chicago, Jacksonville, Seattle, Detroit, St. Louis. You look at Arizona's last 2 road games against teams that were fair competition, let's say, and you saw Tennessee in week 12. You also saw San Francisco on Monday Night Football in Week 14. Arizona was miserable in those games, and you heard both of the opposition fans getting into it and throwing off the offense. You know that Arizona's offense looked great last week, and there was no love lost with Bolden being out of the game. You saw Preston step up big time, but they're not going to be in sync as they are out there. The teams that they beat on the road this year, like Chicago, Jacksonville, Seattle, they ranked 19th, 24th, 25th. They even played the Detroit Lions on the road, 27th, and the St. Louis Rams, who were 32nd. Arizona won in one of the weakest divisions in football, and now going on the road to play one of the strongest offenses in the team with the defense who's rested for the week, I give this one to New Orleans.
Yeah, I like New Orleans too, guys. I just think that a week off's only going to help them. I threw out the last 2 games of the season when they weren't really trying. Can they turn it on again, turn it off again like a light switch? Well, they started out week 1 ball busters right from the gate, and I think they're going to pick up where they left off now that they've got those 2 cornerbacks back. And as far as your total goes here, you got a number of 57 on this one, okay? 57. New Orleans only had 6 games go over that number all year long. 8 games went under. I discounted the last 2 games of the season when they weren't trying. Arizona, only 1 game of theirs went over 57. So you combine those 2, you've got 7 games over 57, 24 under. Don't automatically think that because all those points that were scored in Green Bay, Arizona, well, New Orleans got a better offense. It's going to be that way this week. The bookies have raised that number up a little bit. I lean a little bit to the under on that one. Now,
yeah, Darren Sharper looks good, too, for New Orleans. He's going to play a big part in their defense.
Now let's get to the other matchup. We've got the one I'm really looking forward to myself. We got the Colts, and we've got the Ravens coming in. I said this on our BetRepublic Daily Line show. I said it when they played during the regular season. You've got a much better Baltimore team this year than last year. Offense is clicking. Defense is better. You've got a worse Baltimore team. Flacco's still Flacco, and the defense is not as stringent as they were last year. So last year you had a better Baltimore club and a lesser Colts club, and even with that, the Colts beat them 31-3. The year before, the Colts beat them 44-20. the Colts can score on this type of offense. Again, the same situation at New Orleans. They've been off for a little bit now. Can they turn it back on like a light switch? I think they're going to be able to. Flacco just 4 for 10 in the first game, 34 yards and an interception. I don't care how much you rely on your running game. A rushing game, by the way, that although it did great last week, couldn't break 100 against the Colts the first time they saw him. I like the Colts in this one.
Yeah, Baltimore's defense was a cornerstone of that franchise for so many years for the past decade. They didn't look like it as much throughout the part of this year when they were trailing in the league in sacks. They weren't quite getting the pressure on the quarterback. Last week, though, in a playoff game when it mattered at Foxborough, they turned it on. They turned it on, though, against an offense who was missing one of their key components. It was just eliminated 1 week before with Wes Welker. Now they're going to an Indianapolis offense who has had Dallas Clark, Reggie Wayne waiting there, Peyton Manning. I'm not going to say they owe it to their fans after kind of bailing out there in Week 15, or in Week 16, sorry. But you know how the Indianapolis Colts are. You know how competitive Peyton Manning is. He's going to have his offense in sync, and they're going to be ready to go up against his defense. They're going to have all the reads ready. You know that he's got as good of control over the defensive secondary and as any other team. He's going to see Ray Lewis coming in. Peyton Manning does not get sacked a lot of times. I like the Indianapolis offense to roll up points, and I don't exactly think Baltimore's run game is going to be able to move against this Indianapolis defense.
Well, in the offensive line, number one, giving up sacks this year. They only gave up 13 sacks all year long. The reason Baltimore's in this game is because they were able to work that blitz against the Patriots. As we said, we're missing Welker, the hot read for Brady. They're not going to have that same situation in their favor, and they're up against a better offensive line. The key, obviously, for Baltimore is get out, keep the offense on the field, keep Peyton and that quick strike offense off the field. And to do that, you have to use the running game. But as I said, they couldn't break 100 the first time when they faced Indianapolis. So they're in trouble if Indianapolis gets out in front. Baltimore, they're obviously coming in here with Flacco looking to run first and play defense. Baltimore gets behind by 2 scores or more. That takes them even further out of that running game. And then they've got to depend on Flacco, which is the last thing they want. So the first quarter is key here. Manning and those guys come out, and their timing isn't missing a beat. After these last couple of weeks where they've been slacking, Baltimore could be in trouble.
Yeah, and I want to talk about Ray Rice's 83-yard rushing. First play of the game last week against New England. Ray Rice had a great game. Busted out for 159 total yards on 22 carries. He's going up against an Indianapolis offense that I think their numbers are a little bit misleading. They ranked 24th against the run this year, but I keep track of defensive rushing yards per game allowed throughout the entire season. And if you look back to how the Colts ranked after 7 games, they were 19th against the run. After 12 games played, the Colts ranked 15th against the run on defense. And after 15 games, when is the last game that I'm going to count because that's when they started in Week 16, 17, sitting down some of their starters on both sides of the ball, the Colts were still ranked 16th in the league at defensive rushing yards allowed per game. Indianapolis had to rest a couple of players. They had a young rookie coming named Jared Powers this year who missed the last couple of games with the injury. He's listed as questionable for this game, but he is going to go. He's rested. He's had a month to recover from this injury. Melvin Bullitt was also questionable. He sat out the last game and a half. He's going to go. You've got the big front 7 coming in. Indianapolis' defense against the run is not going to be what breaks them against this somewhat mediocre offense from Baltimore.
Recap it. Who do you like in the game? First game up, Arizona. Who do you like there?
I'm definitely taking the New Orleans Saints, laying 7 points.
Just opinion placement in this one. I like New Orleans, and I like this game to stay under. It's going to be a heavy Joe Public favorite. Wait to buy it till game time because it's going to go higher probably. How about the second game? Who do you like there?
In the second game, I hate to sound like a square, but I've laid 6.5 points. You can get 6 now with Indianapolis as well. I like the Indianapolis Colts to win over the Baltimore Ravens.
And the only play that I've made in these, I have no opinion on the total in the second game, but for the same reason I bet them during the regular season, I took the Colts over these guys in Baltimore. I'm definitely riding with them. Again, I banked that unit then. I'm taking them at home, laying the extra couple points that I got to lay. Not worried about it. I like the Colts at home. That's it. See you over at BetRepublic.com. Daily line show every day. Bets every day. Hockey, basketball, football, college, and pro. See you there.